And Mike Cerre joins us now from our affiliate KGO in San Francisco. And Mike, the thing that shines through in this piece is that these guys are just aching to do good and scared to death because they never know which of these Iraqis that they're out to help are trying to kill them. How do they keep from hating all Iraqis?
Well, that's the complexity of fighting an insurgency, and for the first 3 months that they've been there, they've been fighting the Iraqis almost constantly. The actual week we were there was the first time they ever had a chance to do a hearts and minds mission, as they call it, and they said it was as important for them to do it as well as for the Iraqis because they were losing contact, the personal contact with the Iraqis. So it's a very difficult situation for them as they go into these homes suspecting the worst, but trying not to be overtly aggressive or more aggressive than they have to be.
And where do they target their anger?
They target their anger pretty much at the insurgents when and if they can find them. So they're always ready to engage the insurgents. The frustration comes, they can't always find them because the nature of an insurgency is that the enemy sets the time and place for the contact. That's their greatest frustration. They know they can win all the battles on the battlefield. They're concerned about being able to win the long-term war of this insurgency because they cannot mass their firepower and their technology to take on the enemy head-to-head.
You say they're concerned about it. Do they feel like they've been put in an impossible position by their commanders?
The commanders of the Marines are very good at keeping them focused directly on the mission at hand, what they have to do that day in that tactical area that they've been assigned to. So as long as the conversation is kept to that level, they seem fairly confident. They're winning all the time, and they think their tactics are successful. It's when you talk to the senior officers that they start talking about that there probably might not be a military solution to this, that it has to be a political solution as well. So you can't rely totally on the military to win this thing.
But they're being asked to carry out right now what is in effect a political mission.
Exactly, and some of the only complaints I hear from the senior officers is that they are hoping that the political war is being waged as aggressively as the military war is, because they know they can only go in and sanitize places like Fallujah and Ramadi and Samarra so many times. At some point they have to cut and contain the money flow and the support that keeps building this insurgency. The military can't alone just clean out all the insurgents. It has to be a political and a social victory as well.
You know, you watch those pictures of them trying to put that armor onto their transport vehicles, and it's impossible not to think of the encounter between Secretary Rumsfeld and that soldier back in Kuwait. When these guys, when the cameras are off, do they target any of that frustration at their commanders for putting them in a position without the tools they need?
There was no anger vented that way. The Marines like to take pride in themselves that they can improvise. In fact, the Marines are always used to not having the right gear.
But if some of the guys you met had the chance, say, to talk to Secretary Rumsfeld, what would they ask for?
I think they would probably ask for more people and to do the job at hand. Like I said, they're focused immediately on the task at hand. They probably would say they could use more people because they feel like they're out there day in and day night trying to police all these areas, and then once they are able to neutralize an area, to be able to secure it is another thing entirely. So I think they'd probably ask for more people more than anything else. They seem to have, through their own gerrymandered way, got most of their vehicles armored at this point. There was some concern as to why did they send back the amphibious assault vehicles, the armored amphibious assault vehicles that they used in the invasion that were sent back to the pre-positioning ships south of Kuwait. So there's some talk about that maybe the planning could have been better. They could have had more of the assault vehicles and more of the tanks, the armor, left up in their positions. But generally speaking, they don't openly complain about that. They're pretty much focused on their mission and what they can do with what they've got.
All of us here in Washington are focused, of course, on those elections that are supposed to be held on January 30th, and watching the violence ramp up. Do the soldiers on the ground, the Marines on the ground, believe that these elections are going to be an answer, a turning point?
Their biggest concern is pulling off these elections, and in talking to the generals in charge over there, they say that one thing they will absolutely not do is put an American soldier in a polling place for both political reasons and practical reasons. So they know that things are going to ratchet up in these next 3 weeks because they know this is the last best chance the insurgents have for unsettling the country. So they're pretty much focusing on how to try to get to the insurgents before they can get to disturb the elections. But I don't think they look at it as one of those other benchmarks that they're there to accomplish. There was the invasion, the liberation, and then there was the handover of the government. And I think they look at it as the next benchmark, whereas the real true benchmark to their leaving, any timetable they're leaving, really depends on how fast the Iraqi security forces can be built to take over their positions.
It's clear these Marines want to finish the job they started, but would they have signed up for it if they knew this is what it would be?
In a strange way, I think yes. You don't sign up for the Marine Corps under any illusion that you're not going to see combat or you're not going to be in the combat arms. That's what the Marine Corps is about. So in their case, it's a little bit easier for them to say, this is what I signed up for, this is what I got. They are concerned, however, about the younger Marines coming in and finding out or realizing that they may spend their entire career either in Iraq or training for Iraq. They think that may have retention problems and recruitment problems more than anything else.
Mike Cerre, thanks very much for a fascinating report.